welcome to the Brent Weinbach podcast. My name is Brent Weinbach, and I'm here with my friend Scotty D.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And I've known Scott since college, and we lived in the same rooming house. That's where we met, and those were fun times. And also, Scott really had a lot of, I don't know, he had a lot to do with me starting stand-up comedy, kind of, A lot of the bits I was doing early on were really kind of helped by Scott, They're kind of, some of them were kind of inside jokes we had, and I don't know, stuff that he helped. In fact, I think the joke that, one of my favorite jokes from that time, in the early 2000s was, what the problem with poo-poo is? God made it delicious. That's Scott. That was Scott who made that joke, I think.
Yeah,
and also, meet me in the woods tonight. That was something that you meet me in the woods tonight. That was that's also a Scott joke as well.
Nothing
Scott,
bad.
A Scott phrase or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, very appealing phrase.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, it works too. I mean, meet me in the
people
woods
want to
tonight.
go check it out. It's like, what's going on in the woods,
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and then they check it out, and I think they're probably let down a little bit because there's probably, I don't know. I think they had higher expectations from the phrase and the way you say them, But
Yeah, I don't
then
think
when they see there's not as much going on in the woods as they thought,
Yeah.
But yeah, I had Liam on the show not that long ago, and you might have actually you might have come up briefly during that, but we all kind of lived together in this rooming house with all these international students.
Yeah, it was about like 25 students. It was a huge house, and it was packed.
It was a big house, and there were people that shared. Nobody had their own room. Well, some people had their own room. You did, but I shared a room with two other people at first, and it was interesting because a lot of the people were kind of older international students that were just there, that went to the school for a 3-month extension program. They had already graduated from a regular university, and they were just there for some program. And some of them were kind of older, and it was kind of interesting because there was a 35-year-old guy that was in a room with me, and I was 18, and and then there was, I mean, there was just different people in their 20s and stuff, and I don't know. It was cool though, because I always felt like when we, I never lived in the dorms because I don't know, I just didn't really want to live in the dorms.
Yeah, this is their freshman year, right?
Yeah, and so I lived in this rooming house with it was mainly older students or these international students that were, way older. And I had a meal plan at the dorms, and when I would go there, I felt like there was another grade that was younger than me. They didn't seem like freshmen. I don't know. They seemed like they were negative freshmen, on a scale from, it seemed like I couldn't believe that they were the same age as me. They seemed a lot younger or something like that. Maybe because I was around all these older students or something in this house that we lived in. But that was a fun house, though. We had a lot of fun, a lot of jokes,
Yeah, you had a lot of adventures too in that room, because people would come in like drunk or whatever, and
well, actually, yeah, there was the one guy I lived with who was the 35-year-old who was in my room. There was another guy in there too. They were both Brazilian, and yeah, I guess I won't say his name, but one of them was maybe, I don't know, in his early 20s or something, or maybe he was 25 or something. The other guy was 35, and he was drunk one time, and he threw up in the desk.
So you woke up like when he was doing it, or you were already awake?
I was probably trying to go to sleep, and I don't know what happened, but I was definitely awake for it. And he kind of stumbled in, and he threw up. He opened up this drawer to his desk and just threw up in the desk. Isn't that nuts?
Were you excited about college? Is it like what you thought it would be like?
Yeah, it was. It
Huh.
was. I was excited because I was kind of depressed in high school, but when in college it was so fun. I met people like you and Liam, and I just had a lot of fun. I was just totally not depressed at all in college. It was fun
Hmm.
because we used to do all this fun stuff, and I learned a lot more about '80s new wave music through you. Because
Yeah, I
you,
still listen to that.
yeah, I mean, and Scott knows really obscure stuff. He got really deep into it, and I mean that's where I really learned about obscure kind of '80s stuff. And because you used to work, you went to a different school before that, and you did radio there, right?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I had to just go through the record selection, and I just sometimes look at covers and I'd say, well, this looks like it might be something I could be into.
What was a What was a cover? What was an example of a cover, and then in a band that you thought, oh, I want to check this out?
Well, one would be sort of Athletico Spiz 80.
Yeah, you just
It's
saw
a,
the name and you
it's
thought,
yeah, also known by Spiz Energy, a couple other Spiz Oil, a few other different names, but sort of like this, sort of like new wave, dark wave sort of stuff. But yeah, I saw the cover and I put it on. And I was like, yeah, this match. This is a good fit here.
oh yeah, and well, I remember you showing me that record because I think when I started doing radio stuff, we went to the radio station and looked at the in the library, and we found that one of those records, those Athletico Spiz 80 records, and yeah,
It's
you're kind
interesting
of
because I found that that is a thing that I think you can link up is like the way the cover looks, and the type of music. Also with shoegaze, there's like a really popular shoegaze band um, called My Bloody Valentine, and they have a kind of this blurry
mm.
cover. And like a lot of times when you see a shoegaze album, it's going to have that same kind of aesthetic. It's
Yeah,
just kind of interesting. It's like you see that and you're like, okay, I kind of know what I'm going to get. It's like a visual representation of the music almost.
my Bloody Valentine, I feel like that band looks really cool. You know what I mean? Or their look just looked cool because they had two women in the band, and it was two women, two men, and they kind of just, the one guy in the band kind of always seems to wear this coat a lot and stuff, and I don't know, something about that band just looks like they would be cool or something.
Mm-hmm.
They also sound very, I don't know, I think they kind of sounded, yeah, I don't know, they sounded kind of different. They sounded a little ahead of their time or something like that,
Oh
maybe.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it almost. I mean, it's arguable, but a lot of people say that'd be one of the main bands that spawned the genre of
Mm,
shoegaze, which is still alive today. A lot of bands do that style, and
yeah.
it's got like I guess tremolo. It's sort of like they have like the whammy bar, and they're constantly
That
modulating
was the thing that
notes.
guy developed, I guess. I think what was the guy's name in that?
Kevin
The guy,
Shields.
yeah, Kevin Shields. Yeah,
Yeah.
he kind of. I think that was his trademark thing, was using the whammy,
Hmm.
but the whammy bar, but playing it all the time or something like that.
It sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a whole vibe, and yeah, and then like you could still find tons of music being made just like that now, where they have the same kind of guitar, and then they're still doing the same thing, and yeah, it's a nice effect.
What did you What was another example of a band where you saw the cover and just based on the picture you thought, oh, what? You just describe a picture that you thought this looks so nuts, or something like that, or you just thought this looks like it's going to be good or something.
Okay, probably. I mean, if I'm going back to the early days for me, I'd probably say like soft cell non-stop erotic cabaret. There's like they're wearing like leather. There's like a neon sign that says the album name, and they're like he's got like he looks like he's selling some kind of illegal good coming out of his pocket. It just looks like it's some kind of um like I don't say contraband, but it's just something that something maybe that shouldn't be sold, like it's
Hmm.
sexy or whatever. I don't know what he's peddling, but it just looks like it's gonna be it's gonna be something that like you don't want to get caught with, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just and the album too is just a lot of um I mean, I would say it's a lot of like not necessarily sexual in nature, although there are some songs like that, but it's just I would say sensual and yeah, I'd say it's just
Central.
like a magazine with like like images are not necessarily dirty, but like sensual. Maybe he's peddling that or something.
By
It's
the
not
way,
extra.
this is not is this an earlier Soft Cell album that doesn't have their big hits on it, or
This is their first one, I think, released in 1980. So it's like a really early. This is a really early
okay, so
like.
this doesn't have Sex Dorf or anything,
Yeah, it's
even
got
though
that.
oh it does have
Yeah.
that. Okay, oh
Mhm.
okay.
Their first album is, I mean, people would probably say is it's got the most hits on it for sure.
Uh huh.
But the whole thing is incredible. It's just an
Hmm.
absolute incredible album.
What's your favorite '80s bands, new wave bands?
I'd say definitely Jesus and Mary Chain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just yeah, that sound. I love the sound, and I never get tired of the song, especially the first two albums, Darklands and Psycho Candy. I never get tired of the music. It's they had an amp that just squeaks, and it's almost that became their aesthetic. They've got this really squeaky amp that creates this kind of whining distortion, and it just over everything. Less on Darklands, but it's just it's odd, but it's like their amp became almost part of their signature sound. I would say that their amp helped them probably develop their sound.
Mm.
And it was like a really fiddly amp that they could easily just you could set it off and it could start squeaking. Um, so that's one. Probably Galaxy 500. That's another like 80s sort of band that I listen to quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it's hard to say because there's a lot of stuff that I liked. I mean, Smiths, but it's a lot of stuff I liked, but I don't listen to regularly now. Whereas like Jesus and Mary Chain and Galaxy 500, I would still listen to them now. But
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of stuff that I think is really good. Like Smith's How Soon Is Now, probably I think maybe one of the best songs to come out of the 80s
Oh,
as far as
really?
like new wavy went.
It's funny that song doesn't really sound like their other stuff, really.
Yeah, it's just kind of
It's
it's
got
very
that.
like kind of
It's got that.
mhm.
It's got that sound. But
That's
no, I feel
definitely
like
I think one of the
that
top
song sounded
songs.
a lot more '80s than their other stuff, which didn't sound as '80s sounding.
Yeah, and then like the guy who ran the record label, they took the song to him and they're like, "Hey, I think this should be the single." And he wasn't digging it at all. He was like, "What is this?" Because it sounds so different from their other stuff.
Yeah,
He's thinking, I don't want to release this as a single.
yeah.
So they put it on B side, and then it didn't, it sold some, but it wasn't like the single. And then they later saw that it was like a hit song, and then they tried to re-release it, and it just didn't do that well. So it's kind of like one of those songs that just sort of deserved to be bigger than it was, and just kind of for whatever reason just didn't get the promotion.
Hmm. Oh yeah, huh? Did you now? Scott was you went to a lot of '80s clubs, and this is in the '90s. I mean, it wasn't like it was the '80s. Was that? It's kind of crazy how isn't it kind of crazy how in the '90s we thought of the '80s as a time, but it wasn't that long ago. Now that when you think about it, that if you think about, for example, now, right? It's 2026, and you think about I don't know the early 2010s, which was kind of the same distance that seems like that was recently, but in the '90s, the '80s seemed like it was longer ago. I mean, I remember I've said this probably a lot of times already, but I remember even in 1994 thinking that the '80s seemed like this other era, this other time. And but anyway, so you used to go to these '80s clubs. It's weird because do they have okay or not '80s clubs, but '80s nights clubs? Isn't it interesting how in the '90s they had '80s nights, and yet nowadays it's not like they're having 2010s nights, are they? I mean,
Yeah, they
oh, they
do.
are.
Yeah,
Wait, there's clubs that are having 2010s nights.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm on the East Coast, but Asheville has them.
They
Asheville, North
say, oh,
Carolina.
it's really they have 2010s. They have
Mm-hmm.
tens or
2000s, 2010s. Yeah.
2010s. They say, okay, we're doing a tens night or a
Mm-hmm.
teens night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, they still have them.
I didn't know that. That's interesting
Yeah,
because
yeah.
to me that's not going to I mean in my mind that doesn't seem like that would be any different from modern day.
Well, it wouldn't be something that like we would maybe go to. But I think like if you were young in that era, those songs would like have a special spot for you. Like maybe you'd hear it on the radio when you're a kid and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Okay, let's talk about,
Because
let's say,
we were kids in the 80s.
so,
We
well,
were
let's say,
little in
let's
the
talk
80s.
about 2015, 2016. What, what would be playing then that wouldn't be being played now? You know what I mean?
Well, played I don't know enough
Well,
about
I don't
that
know.
kind of
Maybe
music.
you don't know probably, but I guess that's something to ask somebody who's younger. Is what
I mean, like, you know, like Black Eyed Peas. I guess that'd be the 2000s. You'd hear like Black
eh,
Eyed Peas or something.
Black Eyed Peas. I mean, yeah, I don't.
You go to 2009, you hear Black Eyed Peas.
Okay, but that's 2000s, right? Maybe I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't even know what era I was. I'm kind of out of touch with Black Eyed Peas, but what what
You got to
was?
get plugged
I'm
in,
just trying to
man.
think of
It's
what was.
plugged
Look, the
into the
big
Peas.
hit to me in the mid 2010s was that Gautier thing. You know that
Okay.
somebody I used to know. Are they just going to play that on repeat basically at a tens night? It's tens
Yeah, I
night.
don't know.
We're
Yeah.
gonna play Gautier the whole night. You know, it's just the
But
Gautier repeat.
if you
Maybe
think back, I mean,
Peter.
if you think back, it's just when you're a kid, you're sort of exposed to whatever's on offer. You know, you're almost too
Right.
young
I
to
know.
go looking for stuff.
Right. I wonder what was just playing the regular stuff. I see. I just was so out of touch with pop culture, I guess, in around that time that I just would have no idea what that would even sound like. I guess. I mean, wasn't the when did that what's her name Beyonce that Ring on It thing come out? When is that?
I don't know. It's weird because it's just the time as you get older, time just passes so differently. It
I
seems
know
like
it
it's so
does.
fast. It's
It's
you know, I really couldn't tell you.
yeah.
I was still listening to music a lot at those times, but I would listen to just alternative stuff. Like I
Right.
really didn't listen to any
Right. I mean,
real mainstream
I was
stuff.
listening to the radio, but it was all college and public radio, though. I wasn't, listening to commercial. But um, remember that kind of joke version of that song, the Ring on It song? Remember? If you
How's it
really,
go?
it's the. I mean, we kind of made this up, or I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know, or maybe we did together. It was something like, if you really like my penis, put a cock ring on it, or something like that. If you really, or something like that. It was like, and then it was something like, if you really like my penis, put your mouth on it.
Oh my
As if
gosh.
the mouth is on the penis, or something like that.
I forgot about that. The do you want to talk about when you had a show and like somebody messaged you to give you a present?
Oh, that's kind of funny. Yeah. So this is probably, I think, in the mid 2000s. I'd, been, doing comedy for a bit at that point, and but yeah, I got a message, an email from somebody. I used to have a joke about, and hey, you might have. I don't know if I can't remember if you helped me with this joke or not, but it used to be this joke about how I wear a chastity belt or something like that, and that
How's the
basically I was
joke go?
um I'm trying to remember how exactly it went, but basically it was about me having a chastity belt, and I was looking. How is somebody supposed to meet women wearing a chastity belt or something like that? And
Okay.
I say, and then so I say to someone in the audience, a woman, and I would pick out, and I'd say, "Hi, how's it going? You come here." Wait, I'd say, "Hi, how's it going? Are you the key master?"
Oh
I somehow say,
yeah.
"Are you the key master?" somehow,
Yeah, that was
and I would try to
great.
say it in the in a Zool type of voice or something like that, or whatever, Are you the key master? Or something like that, right? I don't know. I forgot how it went, right? Anyway, and that's the laugh. Um, so this woman emailed me on my website, and she said, "Hey, I'm the key master. Seriously, I am," or something like that. I don't know, something like that. And she said, "I have a chastity belt, and I'll give it to you if you want it," or something like that. And I guess she was a dominatrix actually, and she had this gear, and she was kind of I guess she had been to some of my shows, and she liked my comedy obviously, and so she wanted to give this chastity belt to me as a gift. So this was just pure just email. I had no idea what this person looked like, or what they were all really any information about them. So I was a little bit cautious, you know. And I thought, hey, this person wants to give me a chastity belt. Do you want to come with me to go check this out? And so, yeah, I brought Scott, and yeah, we went to this woman's place, and she was actually very normal and totally nice and everything. I just, getting an email like that is, I don't know, who knows, what they might be like. And yeah, she, talked to us about being a dominatrix and all this stuff, and yeah, I mean, it was a friendly little, get together, but
sounds
she
like a euphemism.
yeah, I guess it does. But yeah, I think at one point, well, we tried the chastity belt on over our clothes. She said she totally cleaned and disinfected and everything, but we
But
tried.
I didn't even know. Was it not new?
I think it was not new. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, we had I think we both tried on the chastity belt over our pants, and I don't know. That's pretty much it. I mean, you held on to it for me for a while.
Well, she offered to give you a sample of some of her skills, right?
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, which,
Yeah.
but I wasn't really kind of up for that. I guess.
She described it and it sounded pretty bad. You'd have to be of certain type to like agree to like, yeah, let's do that. It sounded bad.
What do you mean by bad? I mean, it would be painful or something.
Yeah, it's like crushing you and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I didn't really want to get. I wasn't really in the mood, and I'm not really in the mood, generally speaking, to get dominated. In
To
such
get
a way.
crushed.
Yeah, to get to get spanked or whatever, or whipped or something like that. I don't know. I mean, some people want to get whipped, and I remember when I was 18 or 19, I was kind of really. Well, I was like this in high school too, but I was really interested in sort of exploring different, I don't know, scenes and subcultures and stuff. And I went to an S&M club once just because I was just curious about just observing, this kind of subculture. And yeah, I saw some guy kind of get dominated by this woman, and he was just wearing a little Speedo or something like that. But yeah, she was whipping him and stuff, and I thought it was interesting. People are into it. But it's not something I would want to do.
Yeah, SF. I mean, it's changed a lot, but it was still a pretty magical time in the '90s. There was
Mhm.
still. I mean, relative to what was going on in the country, it had a lot of weird stuff that I don't think it would be so easy to find in different places.
Well, remember the Power Exchange?
That was the name of that club, right?
That was a sex club in. I never went to it, but it was a sex club in San Francisco, and it's just funny that it's called Power Exchange.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a funny name for a sex club, Power Exchange.
Yeah, I guess it's like power dynamic or something.
Yeah, I guess, but it's also just, I don't know. I guess when people do stuff there, they're probably exchanging fluids and stuff, and to refer to a fluid as power is kind of interesting too to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really doing that, but it's what it kind of sounds like to me in a way.
One thing, can you talk about how you got started in comedy around that time? It's been so
Like you're
long
interviewing
since
me.
I
Well,
kind of want to hear
well,
about it because it's been so long and I don't remember.
Well, you
Like,
kept on encouraging me to do stand-up comedy, and we were kind of working on bits together, for me to do, and we had these kind of weird abstract kind of bits ideas, and then I don't know, you basically, my friend who also Louis, he started doing stand-up comedy, and I was kind of I was kind of jealous or something of that he was doing it because I wanted to do it, but I didn't know exactly how to do it or whatever. So we followed him around, you and me, and we went to some shows of his, or just shows that he was doing for about a week. We went to a handful of shows. We went to one. Well, we didn't. He didn't go up, but we went to the Punchline and saw some people there, and then we went to the Kimball's East, and which he was on that show, and then he had his own self-produced show that did in Berkeley that we went to, and he was really good, and I don't know, I was meeting all these people, and they were asking if I was a comedian or something, and I wanted to say I was, but I didn't, and then I the next week I said, I'm got to just go to an open mic and do it, And so
Hmm.
I just forced myself to, I basically just wrote I wrote some stuff about semen and stuff. And I just forced myself to just go to an open mic and do it that next week. And yeah, and I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely should we talk about the some of the early jokes in the bonus section because it might be kind of dirtier.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, yeah, I mean,
Oh,
yeah. We could
well,
do
I
that.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, I just kind of like to hear about where some of those, like how you
Well,
developed those, because I know it wasn't
well, I
because
had
some
this.
of it you came up with and it was so funny, and this was like you came out of the gate pretty funny, I'd
Well,
say.
the thing is what clicked with me all of a sudden was I was listening to Joe Frank a lot, the radio monologist, and I listened to. They had his show on Sundays on KPFA, and I was listening to that a lot, and his monologues kind of clicked with me, and I thought I don't need to sound like I. It always felt unnatural and forced to me to sound like I was being conversational on stage or something. It just felt fake to me in a way that I didn't feel comfortable with. But then treating it more like a monologue, treating it more like a presentation, that felt very normal to me that didn't feel fake to me because, okay, that's what this really is. It's a sort of as a performance and it's a deliberate kind of monologue. So if I listening to Joe Frank kind of helped me made me realize, I can kind of treat it more like that instead. So that was kind of the big thing is that clicking. So then I was kind of trying to do it like that, and I was kind of talking about the semen stuff, and yeah, that was the first thing. I mean, one of the jokes was, and it's on my first album, but it's about basically it's about ejaculating, and I was eating toast at the same time while ejaculating, and something like, or I thought this toast needs butter, and so people will think that, he's gonna spread, gross, he's gonna spread the semen on the toast as to use as butter or whatever, but I say instead, so then I went to the store and I bought a tub of butter or something like that. So that's
Hmm.
that joke, and then I say, and then I tied the butter to a chair and forced it to watch me spread semen all over the toast. So
Okay,
I
so it's
flipped
like a
it.
misdirection
Yeah,
on a misdirection.
I misdirect, and then misdirect again, where
Yeah,
I
back.
bought the butter to force it to watch me spread semen on the
Yeah,
toast.
yeah. You think
And
it's going clean, but then it just gets it's
it,
like the same thing but
it's not
weirder.
just clean. It not only does it get dirty, it's also kind of psycho or something.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
I care about this butter watching me. I'm trying to shove it in its face or something like that. That I'm going to use the semen instead of the butter or
Yeah.
whatever.
No, that
So
was great.
yeah, I thought that was kind of a funny misdirection. But yeah, I don't know. There's just different stuff. I started writing about substitute teaching and stuff.
What did you think about when you first started? What was it like? Were people because it was kind of more edgy humor? Was it harder to get the audience, or was because it was an SF? Were people more receptive, or what was it
Well,
like starting off?
people were kind. I think my very first set was. I mean, they were listening. I thought that was a good thing. And um, yeah, I think people were kind of thought, "What's up with this?" But the next week, I started doing material about substitute teaching, which got received very well. It was people were laughing and liking that a lot. So I don't know. I think pretty quickly people were pretty receptive. I mean, at least people at these open mics, which is just mostly a lot of comedians and some audience members, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah, I
don't
forgot
you?
about the substitute teaching.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was the deal with the phone calls? Because you
What
wouldn't know
sub? You
until they
talking about
called in
sub
the
call?
morning, right? Sub
Oh,
call,
sub
yeah.
call. Yeah. Well, by the way, Scott, he used to leave a lot of these messages on my answer machine, and they're so funny. They were so funny, and anyway, they're just those inspired a lot of bits too. But I used to get these calls in the morning when I was substitute teaching, and I don't know. Scott left this message one time where he goes, he did it in this really aggressive way where it's a call. I'm getting a call in the morning. Actually, I think you did that to me once. You called me early in the morning and just
Oh
went,
yeah.
"Sub call, motherfucker," or something like that. And you're just trying to, make it seem like it was this rude awakening kind of aggressive, phone call,
Get
or
up.
sub call, sub call, motherfucker.
Get up.
Break yourself.
Yeah. Because they would call in the morning and
Yeah.
wake you up to
Yeah.
let you know that you had a job, right?
Yeah. Or they would ask me if I could come in,
Okay.
and which, yeah, I usually took, unless it was just, there was a couple times I said no, I think maybe if I was sick or, I mean, there was one time when I had the opportunity to work, to sort of, to be able to get 2 days credit in one day. And I turned it down because I was just too tired, but that would have been cool though if I did that. I should have done that just for the story. But anyway,
That'd have been cool, dog.
but what's kind of interesting though is Scott was really into 80s music, and you going back to the 80s stuff, but you didn't, and you liked a lot of kind of dark, 80s kind of new wave stuff and, goth stuff or whatever. But Scott never dressed goth or anything, or you didn't look like some kind of new wave guy. You kind of just looked like a normal guy and stuff,
Yeah,
I think that's cool actually, because that's kind of just, you were really into this music, and yet you didn't try to make it. You didn't try to broadcast that with the way your style was or anything like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I still pretty much dress the same.
Yeah,
as I did. You do too, as well.
Yeah. Well, you kind of, I mean, actually, right now you're kind of wearing this black. I don't know what this is, a turtleneck or something.
The turtleneck.
That actually looks more. This looks a little more, I don't know, gothy, if anything. Than I mean, it doesn't look. I guess it's not really gothy, but actually, I don't think you wore black at all back then.
Probably. Yeah, I don't think I really had anything like that.
Yeah.
I just looked like a college kid, I'd say.
Yeah, totally. Actually, I thought when I met you, I thought this guy's a classic. This guy's a classic all-American boy.
Mm-hmm.
Who else said that? Somebody else said that though, and I thought the same thing too. Was it?
Well, I'd say Mohan, this guy from India.
Yeah, he was from India, and he's one of these international students. Although he was a graduate student, he wasn't in the extension program, so he was there more long term. But he was a computer science graduate student, and he was from India. What I mean is he moved to Berkeley from India, to go to school, he was kind of calling you all American boy, which you were. And he was saying what I was thinking. I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, Scott's classic. He's a classic all American boy,
Oh yeah, and I think Shrikant's dad too. Somehow I don't know. Maybe people from India.
Shrikant's dad. It was Shrikant was our other friend who. He wasn't. He was not from India. He grew up. His parents were from India. He grew up in Michigan, and I think you met his dad. His dad called you All American Boy too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just people from India just really took you. What's crazy is, and then eventually Scott and we went to India at the same time at one point.
Oh yeah,
we went to
his wedding, Shrikant's wedding.
It was Shrikant's wedding. We went to India and. Yeah, that was in 2010, early 2010. But part of that trip, I went off by myself to Jaipur. And, you didn't come with us to see the Taj Mahal, though.
I haven't seen it yet.
And you just didn't care. Scott doesn't really care about famous monuments and stuff. You kind of just like getting to know the people and the culture and stuff, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I think it would be nice to see. I would like to see it at some point. I just wasn't necessarily in the mood for that trip. I prefer to go to just one or two places and kind of stay there instead of traveling all around. But I think I went to Kerala.
You did, yeah. And you said that. I think you said you had some of the best food you ever had in your life. It was
a lot of coconut, curry kind of stuff and seafood, and it was just some of the best food I've ever had. And I definitely regret not staying at a location where I found a restaurant that had that type of food that I really liked. I could have just stayed there a week and just ate at that same restaurant. It was just the food was so amazing. That would have been, I think, a good use of that time.
Did you ever get diarrhea when you were there?
I did. Yeah, I think the first time I went there was in
Not on the trip of the wedding. I mean, I'm saying the
no,
wedding
yeah,
trip.
no, I've been twice, I think.
Yeah.
Not three times. I think I've been twice. So I went in 99, which India was a far different place, really
Right.
pre-internet.
Right.
I mean, the internet sort of really changed India, like globalization through the web. It just had a huge effect. But back then, India, like in the 90s, India was still kind of could be a rough place to travel, especially out
Totally.
of this away from the cities. And um,
You went in '99?
99, yeah, I went
Oh
with
wow.
Shrikant. He was applying to med school, so he went to get some experience, and he volunteered at a Prim Dawn, which was a Catholic mission, sort of like it was sort of like a clinic, but they didn't really have medicine they applied. So it was more like human care. So there would be people, there'd be older people, and you really didn't know what, they didn't have a doctor there. So you really didn't, they hadn't been diagnosed, but there would be people who might be at like a nursing home, or they had they could be younger and still have a sickness, and they really didn't know what was wrong with them. They'd come into the clinic, which is free, and then there would be international volunteers who would take care of them. It could
Hmm.
be something as simple as supplying lotions or helping feed people.
Hmm.
Um, so we went there, and I that's where I first experienced like what happens when you get sick in India. And
Uh-huh.
I think it's just a matter of time before you get it there. It could be different, but it's just, I think they have different bacteria there that we're not accustomed to.
Yeah.
So, I finally, it's weird. I went to this really nice restaurant. There was this Park Street in Calcutta. It was like a really fancy restaurant, and I'd been in India for a few weeks, and I ordered Chinese food at the Indian restaurant in Calcutta. That's the first time I got sick, eating Chinese food. So that
Uh-huh.
was kind of ironic.
Yeah.
It's like, man, the Indian food didn't get me. The Chinese food got me in India.
Right.
But so my friend and I, our friend, both got sick, and yeah, it's pretty bad. You're basically on the toilet the whole time. But my friend, who's he's basically like he's sober. He's not like he doesn't have addiction issues, but it's kind of like hanging out with a drunk person who's always sober. Is the type of situations and things he gets into.
Uh-huh.
So and he's a doctor now too, which is that's got to be great. So he decided that he already had food poisoning, so now he was going to go all out and eat all the street food that he had been tempted to eat, but was worried about getting sick from before.
That's so
So he
funny.
would every all the street food that he thought that it looked good, he would then, after he was sick, then he would order that, but it ended up getting worse. So
Uh-huh.
he not only did he have diarrhea, but he also started like violently vomiting on
Oh
top of
good.
that.
Oh
So
god.
he I don't know, for some reason he thought he was gonna. He's like, it
Oh
couldn't get any
god.
worse,
The
but it
street
did.
food, you cannot eat the street food there. It's just so, I mean, especially probably at that time too, in the late '90s, it's gonna be so bad for you. I mean, it's not, your body can't handle it. Oh my
Did
god.
you not eat any street food when you were there?
No, I played it so safe, and I only had one situation. I just played it. I wanted to play it really safe. I only ate in restaurants. I didn't drink. I mean, I only had drank bottled water. I didn't, I brushed my teeth with bottled water. I did. I didn't eat anything raw. Everything was cooked. So I didn't have any raw vegetables or anything like that. No salads. I played it really safe, but the one thing I did get something from was the when we ate. It was one of the events of the wedding, because the wedding takes place over the course of 2 weeks or something, and there's different events and stuff. And one of the events we ate at this kind of, I don't know, community center or something like that, and they gave us these big banana leaves to eat on. Do you remember those? And I remember looking at them and thinking they looked kind of dirty and they looked a little bit dusty and stuff. And the way they cleaned them is they just kind of had a pail of water, and the guy just put his hand in the water and just kind of wiped his hand on the leaf. And I thought that seems a little dirty, but anyway, I got sick from that, and or I don't know what I got, but I remember something happened, and we ended up flying the next day, and I had to go really badly. It was the only time when something like this was happening, and it was right as we were landing, and then we landed, and I got off, and the only bathroom that was around was one of those bathrooms that has the holes in the floor, which usually that I didn't have to use a hole, but I had to use a hole there. And of course, there was no toilet paper in there, but I, being extra careful, I brought toilet paper with me everywhere I went anyway, so I had a roll on me. But yeah, it all came out there. That was the only time I had a real uncontrollable kind of issue. But ever since that day and the rest of the trip, my bowel movements are all a little weird. There was something inside of me, I think. I don't know. I had some, and it lasted until even when I came back home, I still had something inside of me going on.
Right. It wasn't like a bacteria. It was more like a possession.
Yeah. I was possessed by probably some sort of Hindu spirit or something. I don't know. I don't know.
It's still there to this day.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, the wrath of Shiva was inside of me, I think. But
Cool.
but look, why don't we wrap up this main episode, and we'll get into the extended portion. And what we're gonna do is Scott worked as a journalist, and he made this video with this guy, this singer that I discovered first on American Idol, and we'll talk about it more, and then we'll watch the video that he made of this guy, and that might be entertaining. And we're going to do that in the extended, and we're going to talk about other stuff.
And you make a cameo in the video as well.
I make a cameo in the video, but I mean I was definitely there when you shot it, but I don't know if I'm in the video. Well, we'll find out, And anyway, if you want to join us for the extended portion of the show, you can go to patreon.com/poundcast, POUNDCAST, and you can, and the episodes come out a couple days early, and that's cool. If you want to watch video of the episode, you can go to youtube.com/@Brent Weinbach podcast. And I want to thank Jack Birch for his help behind the scenes. And I want to thank Scott for joining me today and just sort of hanging out and, to chat. And yeah, thank you all. And we're going to go into the extended. And I think that's all I have to say, I think. So, yeah, I'm Brent Weinbach, and it's the Brent Weinbach podcast. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.